this lesson, we're going to take a look at how to take a set of data points and turn them into a quadratic equation. So we're going to answer this question to do that. It says, you kick a soccer ball in the air. The points below represent the arc of the soccer ball. The x variable represents the horizontal distance in meters, and the y value represents the vertical distance in meters. So we have these 3 points. We want to know how high and how far did you kick the soccer ball. So to do that, we're going to use our calculator, and we're going to put this data set into there. It's very similar to what you've done before with linear regression. So we're going to open up a new document. We can go to the home screen and open up a new document. I'm not going to save my changes. And we're going to add lists and spreadsheets. So we have horizontal distance and we have vertical distance. Now my data points are 210, we have 412, and 1012. So we've done this before. We can take a look at the graph, at these data points, by inserting data and statistics. So if we insert this page, we can add the variable down here, our x variable, or horizontal, and our y variable, vertical. So here's our 3 data points. So it looks like the soccer ball is going up in the air, it's coming off our graph, and coming back down. So if we want to create a line that represents this, we can do that similar to how we did linear regression before. We're going to click on Analyze Graph, Regression, and we're going to show the quadratic. We're going to show the quadratic equation for this. So you can see that this quadratic equation goes up, it goes back down, and if I move my axes a little bit, I can see better. So our quadratic is going up, it's going back down, it goes through all 3 of our points, and this is the equation that represents that. So we want to know how high and how far our soccer ball went. So it goes up, and it goes up to a distance of, by this graph, we can't tell really well, but higher than 12.6, right? Maybe around 13. And it goes a horizontal distance of a little more than 12. So this graph, what it tells us is it kind of shows us our line and our data points and how well they fit. But if we want to know calculations, we have to go to another page. So I'm going to go back to my data points. And here, I'm going to run my quadratic regression again. All right, so if I hit Menu, Statistics, Stat Calculations, you'll find Quadratic Regression. So I'm going to run through that again real quick, in case you didn't get it. We click Menu, Statistics, Stat Calculations, and once again, Quadratic Regression. So we have some different options now. It has XList. So for your XList, we're going to put horizontal. For our Y list, vertical. And here it says save regression equation to F1. That's actually going to save the equation for us right into our graph. It's a really nice feature. F1's fine. We can save it in F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, but F1 is just fine. All right. We're not going to touch anything else and click OK. So to the right here, you'll notice we have some different values. Our values here they go with our equation. All right. We have this r squared and r value also, which show how well our graph fits. So I'm not really concerned about those right now. I'm going to go to my graph now, where I can do my different calculations. So the graph where we do our calculations, we need to insert it now. So we can go to Document, Insert, and Graph. So if we go here, there isn't anything on our graph yet. But if I press the up button, you'll notice here in F1 is my equation. Alright? If you lost that, and maybe you're on a screen like this, we can get there by hitting Menu, Graph, Function, and notice where it says F2 here. If you press the up button, it'll go to F1. Now we hit Enter to tell the calculator that I want to see that graph, and we see a little bit of the graph here. I'm going to have to adjust my axes a little bit in order to see more of the graph. So this part of the calculator is where we do our calculations. This is kind of our pretty graph that shows our data points, but we can't do any calculations there. It doesn't allow us that option. But in this graph is where we can do our calculations. So the first thing we want to know is how high does this soccer ball go? Notice the vertex and maximum is up here. We can do that, we learned before, with the maximum feature in our graph. So if we hit Menu, Analyze Graph, Maximum, we select the lower bound and the upper bound, and you'll notice that this has a maximum at 713.125. So 13.125 feet. We want to know how far this ball went. Alright? So to figure out how far this ball went, we can find the zeros. Alright? So the zeros are right here and right here. That's going to tell me when it left the ground and when it lands. Alright? So my zeros, I click Analyze Graph the same way, and we get one of negative 3.25. Put it over here. And the other one we get $17.25. So negative 3.25 and 17.25. So the distance between those two zeros is going to be how many meters apart our graph is. How many meters apart the soccer ball is from when you kick it until it lands. So if I take my two zeros, I have negative 3.25 and 17.25. If I take this distance between the two of them, it's 3.25 to get to 0 and 17.25 to get to my other 0. So if I add those two distances together, I get about 20.5 meters. We have 17.25 for this 0 and negative 3.25 there. So I add those two together, about 20.5 meters. So to conclude, we kicked the soccer ball to a height of 13.125 meters, and we kicked it a length, a horizontal distance, of about 20.5 meters.